This here is Kinsley Welty in happier, healthier times in her short life.
Unfortunately, the little girl died from malnutrition. She was just 5 years old. Her mother now is on trial for Kinsley's murder.
Rich Nye had his camera in the courtroom for opening statements today.
Her own attorney told the jury that Toni McClure is a terrible mother, a high school dropout who had 6 kids with 4 different men. But the defense argues McClure did not intentionally murder her 5-year-old daughter, Kinsley Welty. The little girl was found unresponsive and terribly malnourished on April 9, 2024, in the mobile home where she was allegedly often confined to a closet and fed very little. Kinsley weighed just 21 pounds when she died.
I am sorry for what you are about to see and to hear, but it is important evidence. It is important evidence so that you know that she intentionally killed Kinsley in the slowest, most painful and torturous way, and she is absolutely guilty of the intentional murder of her daughter.
McClure's boyfriend Ryan Smith and her mother Tammy Halsey have both accepted plea agreements for neglect resulting in death with 20-year prison sentences. They are expected to testify this week against McClure. On Monday, the prosecution played the 911 call McClure made and police body cam video where she lied about Kinsley being with her father just before she died.
Kinsley deserves justice, but justice isn't vengeance. You cannot decide on sympathy or bias or emotions. You have to listen to the facts and the law.
The trial is expected to last up to 2 weeks. My camera is not allowed back in the courtroom until closing arguments. The prosecution is seeking a sentence of life without parole if the jury finds McClure guilty of murder. In Indianapolis, Rich Nye, 13 News.
And this case brought legislation to change DCS policies about caseworkers doing welfare checks on children.
The family of Kinsley's father is now suing DCS for failing to protect his little girl. Tonight, we're getting our first look at a truck that Metro Police believe was involved in a deadly hit and run.
Officers released this picture of the truck with sparks flying around it from security camera footage. Detectives say the truck is a white Dodge Ram 1500. They're trying to find the person who was driving it around 10 p.m. June 7th on the near south side of Indy.
That crash killed 50-year-old Earl Scruggs near East Raymond in the off-ramp of I-65 South. If you have any information that can help police solve this case, you are urged to call IMPD. Also tonight, we're learning the name of a 21-year-old man killed in a shooting on the north side of Indianapolis. The coroner now identifying the victim as Roderick Green II. Someone shot and killed Green Sunday morning near West 71st Street and Grandview Drive. A 22-year-old man who police say knew the victim, now in custody under arrest and facing a preliminary charge of murder.
Tonight, Columbus police officers are investigating a deadly shooting. It happened just after 9 o'clock this morning. Officers say a man called them after the shooting saying he shot a man who attacked him. Officers then found a man who'd been killed when they arrived at the scene. We do not yet know the name of the man killed or if officers have made any arrests in the case.
Tonight, we're seeing the impact of storms that came through yesterday, mostly impacting the southern part of Indiana. So what you're looking at here are images of a 96-year-old chapel, this in Gibson County. And as you can see, it was destroyed there by the strong winds. The roof is gone. The walls are down. If you look straight forward in the center of your screen, however, you can see the cross still standing. We also want to show you a look at some of the damage a little further south in Newburgh. That's where a strong storm hit the strip mall there. This is in Warwick County, as well as some homes in the area as well were also damaged, especially the ones that were right along the Indiana-Kentucky border. And then we have this damage. Possible tornado damage caused a few counties to the north. These pictures are coming in from Shelburne, that's in Sullivan County. You can see the trees there that were knocked down by the wind and uprooted some really big a system there. The storm also brought down power lines and knocked an old barn down, and it fell right and collapsed on top of that truck. So Lots of damage that we're seeing from these storms yesterday. You were here watching the setup Sunday morning.
Yep.
Now new data is coming in today. Any more confirmed tornadoes?
We have one from the southwestern part of the state, but we have 3 National Weather Service offices out surveying the damage. And if you were watching Sean at 4, we've had 4 events in less than 2 weeks. So it is going to take time. National Weather Service out of Indianapolis just did give an update. They finalized a tornado report from last week, and they're going to continue surveys into tomorrow for last night's storms. So stick with us. It's going to take some time to get all of these reports, all of the confirmations from the National Weather Service, but they are keeping an eye on 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 areas of possible tornado damage from last night. So the survey crews are busy, and as I mentioned, it is going to take some time. What's left behind today, lots of clouds, areas of drizzle. As we give you a close-up view of radar, you can see a little bit of green from time to time. Nothing very heavy, but might be enough to interrupt some evening outdoor plans. We've got clouds over Indianapolis and 65 degrees. It's cool in Greencastle as well, 65, 64 degrees right now in Bloomington. Our fever at home this evening. Coming downtown, you'll have clouds, may have a little bit of drizzle. That's a 7 o'clock tip with evening temperatures in the mid-60s. The concern tomorrow morning, some patchy fog. I'll cover that in the rest of the week in a few minutes.
All right, Angela, thank you so much. Right now, the Indiana Public Education Corporation Board is debating a referendum for Indy schools. IPS is looking at a $40 million deficit, but the district would have to split the money from a referendum with local charter schools. So here's a live look inside that meeting right now. It is set to start right at 5. They could vote on the referendum tonight. So we're going to have a full report of the results of the meeting at 11 p.m. Our crew is at the scene right now. Ashton will have more.
The race to oversee Indiana's elections now entering a whole new chapter.
Republican delegates gathered in Fort Wayne this weekend and chose Max Engling to be the Republican nominee for Secretary of State.
And so now after that, the focus is shifting ahead to November and what could become one of the state's most closely watched contests. 13
News State House reporter Emily Longnecker has the story.
Wayne, Washington, Warwick, Warren are all released to go vote.
After 5 hours,
no one got 50% plus 1, so we will need to vote again.
And 2 rounds of voting.
We have a winner.
Delegates at the 2026 Indiana GOP State Convention went in a different direction.
And our nominee for Secretary of State is Max Engling.
Rejecting incumbent Secretary of State Diego Morales in favor of Max Engling. In his speech before Saturday's vote, Engling warned delegates of how high the stakes are surrounding the race for Secretary of State.
If we lose this office, we can lose everything else.
After securing the nomination, Engling said as Secretary of State, he would have 3 priorities.
We're here to close the primaries, make sure that only citizens are voting in our elections, and then to stop the business fraud that we've seen around these shell trucking companies that have popped up around the state.
Heading into Saturday's convention, Bo Bai, the Democratic nominee for Secretary of State, showed up in Fort Wayne with his own message for delegates.
I'm going to ask for the vote of the 1,800 delegates in that convention hall today. There's something better that's possible here in Indiana.
Bai spoke about his priorities for the office should he win in November.
Hoosiers are ready for accountability and fundamental change in this office. That's why I'm going to open an independent audit on day 1 to clean up the corruption.
He wasn't the only candidate in town with hopes of appealing to disaffected Republican delegates who may have wound up disappointed with Saturday's results.
I think both Democrats and Republicans and all those independents out there are looking for a place to go, and I'm that person, and I'm also easily the most qualified person for the race right now.
Former Republican Indianapolis Mayor Greg Ballard was also in Fort Wayne over the weekend. His campaign announced they'd collected over 52,000 signatures to get on the ballot as an independent candidate. 37,000 are required. Ballard said the convention results would not impact his campaign strategy or message.
We want to do the right thing by the voters. We want to open up voter choice for everybody now and into the future.
A second independent candidate, Libertarian Lori Schillings, will also be on the ballot. Schilling put out a statement saying her goal is to get 10% of the votes in November. By law, that would allow the Libertarian Party to be on the ballot in the primaries. In her statement, Schillings said in part, quote, "If you are unhappy with the choices the old parties have given you, don't stay home. Your vote has power. use it to send a message they will be unable to ignore. With just 4 months until voters head to the polls, this race is expected to become even more competitive and increasingly difficult for Hoosiers to ignore as it emerges as one of the state's most closely watched contests. Emily Longnecker, 13 News.
Thank you, Emily. And we do want to remind you that we're always keeping you updated on the latest political headlines across the state of Indiana. We have a show for that. It's called Crossroads Politics. There, we break down some deeper issues and topics. You can catch our latest episode right now on WTHR TV streaming app. Happening tonight, the congregation of an Eastside church damaged in a fire is welcoming the community back.
Yes, it's called the Church of the Living God, and they're holding a community day today as members are celebrating their reopening. Brandon Schaff joins us now with a look at the church today and some of the work that's gone into bringing it all back. Brandon.
Yeah, good evening, Anne Marie and Felicia. We are here in the Church of the Living God here on Indy's East Side, and it really does look and feel brand new in here as they're preparing behind me for this community day. Now, they had to move the activities inside as they're expecting all of this to start at 6 o'clock because of the weather, but after a fire last year displaced this congregation, tonight they'll finally welcome people back to this restored and refreshed space. For more than 2 decades, the Church of the Living God congregation on Indy's East Side called this building home. But when an accidental electrical fire traveled to the attic in February 2025, roaring flames engulfed the building. Thankfully, no one was inside the building or injured. Senior Pastor Mary Townsend remembers coming to the church that day and the shock she felt.
What could I do? I just stand there and look amazed, but I always knew that God He never does anything wrong. He wouldn't allow it to happen if He didn't have a better plan for us.
After the fire, the church needed a new home. They found one at a local Baptist church on Sheedland Avenue, where the congregation worshiped while this church was rebuilt. Simon Townsend is the property manager. He explained what it took to restore this building so there could be services in here again one day.
It took a lot of patience, coming together, a lot of prayers, and a lot of deliverance. And here we are.
So far, the rebuild cost at least $1 million. Townsend says insurance covered most of the cost and the church helped with the rest. On Monday, the community will see firsthand what that money paid for. Final preps are underway in the main space for the first service in here on Tuesday. Throughout the building, it feels like it was just built, despite being this congregation's home for years. Bishop Anthony Taylor visited the building right after these flames left it as a shell of itself. He never doubted the day would come when people would worship in here again.
I trust God. I believe God. Nothing is too hard for God. And when a couple of God's people get together, things will work together.
Now, when this fire happened in February of 2025, there was actually an organ here in the church that was 55 years old at least. Well, it was actually saved, and it's now in the process of being restored so that they can bring it back here to the newly refurbished church as they welcome people back for the first time since that fire. The community event, again, goes from 6 to 8 p.m. tonight, and it's open to all out here on the east side. We'll send it back to you.
Something to celebrate for sure. Brandon, thank you so much.